Hi, I work at a company called IP Group, based in the UK, a £1.4 billion fund floated on public markets that targets startups based on world-leading science. And I thought I'd tell you about the thesis of my fund, why I'm here, and what I do at IP Group, using the examples of three German inventors that I was quite inspired about, that I thought you'd maybe be interested to hear about yourselves. So the first one, the man on the left, was born in 1776, and I couldn't get a photo of him, but you'll see why I chose this photo. This is to represent a man called Johann Wilhelm Ritter, who was a prolific inventor, German. A lot of his work was in Munich. He started research at the age of 14. He discovered electroplating. He independently discovered electrolysis, though he isn't attributed as the inventor of it. He actually did so much experiments that he electrocuted his nose, his mouth, his hands. He even electrocuted his own eyeballs, just learning about how the world works, which is, I think, quite fascinating. And he did all of it outside of a university. He certainly wouldn't be able to do it inside a university now. When he heard about the discovery of heat rays, what we now know as infrared, he thought he'd go looking for cold rays on the other side of the electromagnetic spectrum. And having done some experiments with sodium chloride and seeing how they were exposed from white to black when they were exposed to a set of the spectrum he knew he couldn't see, he knew his eyes couldn't see it, he discovered ultraviolet, which I chose as a story to tell you because we only see 1/30,000th of the full electromagnetic spectrum. And I think that's a really nice metaphor for the work that we do looking for innovative IP in universities or with inventors in different places, not necessarily universities, to build business around that could change the world. You know, we only see a small fraction. There's so much more potential that could come, and I think he tells that story quite nicely. The second man is called Gerhard Ertl. I want to use him to talk about what I do and why I'm here to meet you guys. Gerhard was born in 1936. He won the Nobel Prize in 2007 for his work on the relationship between gases and the surfaces of solids. He currently works at the Fritz Haber Institute, about 1 to 2 kilometers from here in Berlin. And his discoveries enabled fuel cells, catalytic converters, and even to understand how iron rusts. And I like that for a few reasons, maybe two to share with you. One, we have a really cool fuel cell company in our portfolio called Ceres Power, which is a 120 million floated company that we've helped build up out of university research over the past 10 years. And the catalytic converter, something that he has enabled, will have saved many lives. Research recently I saw from King's College London said that for every week you live in London, due to local atmospheric pollution, you lose, they said, 4.5 hours off your life. I think that's maybe slightly shaky math, but even if it's half an hour, you're facing consequences. So the catalytic converter will have saved a lot of lives, but we clearly need a lot more into the future to address the environmental challenges that we face. And so he tells that story. He, for me, tells the story that what I do is focus on environmentally related startups in the CLEANTECH team at IP Group. And that's why I'm here to meet you. The third person is slightly gratuitous. Researching into famous German inventors, I discovered this person, Adolf Rumboldt, invented the modern tea bag, which I thought was a lovely thing to have invented, a tea bag that has splits into two halves. And basically, as a British guy who likes tea, I thought it would be a nice story to tell, and it maybe speaks a little bit more as to why I'm here, to meet people, to have partnerships coming from the UK, co-funders, startups, corporate partners for the companies that we've funded. So that's the headline of why we're here, and just to quickly underline the same points, all of these inventions here are invented out of university intellectual property, which reinforces the thesis that we have for investing. We go from fundamental research to value creation as an organization that sits in between intellectual property and businesses that hopefully can change the world. And our name used to be IP to IPO, which I think tells the story quite well. Some basic detail that we'll see if you remember it, potentially not. You've been given a lot of detail today. So we started about 15 years ago as a company. We've now grown to a £1.4 billion publicly floated company with over 100 businesses in our portfolio. We've been audited to have had a 20% IRR on the investments that we've made. And the model works by having pipeline from leading universities or amazing inventors where possible, and funding from major equity funds. And in the middle, we sit as an organization that helps to commercialize these businesses. And having grown up in the UK, we've now expanded where we have about 15 startups in the US and a partnership agreement with 8 universities in Australia. And in the CLEANTECH team, to conclude now, we've divided our assets into 4 areas: automotive, energy supply, resource efficiency, and energy efficiency. And we have set several priority areas that we like within that. And we have a portfolio that we've built up that includes First Light Fusion, very inspiring company presented yesterday, Ceres Power, a novel fuel cell company, and Genix at the very early stage out of the University of York, which used genetic algorithms to design low-energy circuitry, sea capture, which capture CO2 out of biogas exhaust streams to make sites more viable. Xeros, 200 million plus publicly floated company that is transforming the laundry industry, and a set of others, one which will follow on from me now and present Mixergy. So why am I here? I work in a company that funds startups out of universities or fundamental research, and I'm keen to partner with anyone who's here. It's great to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ben. In the past, we already had a couple of your portfolio startups at Ecosummit. Dukosi.
Yeah. Azuri as well.
Azuri.
Yeah.
819.
Yeah.
And yesterday, First Light Fusion.
Yes.
And now number 5, Mixergy.
Yes.
Cool.